Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Working with Styrene. Right, so, not you, just the graphics. In this week's episode, I wanted to go through cutting circles, or discs out of styrene. This one can be quite tricky if you haven't got the right tools. It's also great when you master it. So, let's take a look at the different things you can do. So, here we have the different things that I tend to use when cutting circles. So, I used to use, so this is the cutter, I used to use a relevant sized sort of object to draw around or cut around, and then a knife. We'll come into sort of what this is used for in a moment. But yeah, so those are what I used to do. So basically you take this, your piece of plasticard, you would draw around the object and then freehand cut it out with the hobby knife. Now what this does instead is basically like the compasses that you had when you were at school. And you've got a big sharp knife, big sharp pointy bit there, and a big sharp knife there, and a one-way mechanism, sort of crank for cutting the piece out. So again, and you've got a little bit of a measurement on this part here. There's quite a few of these on the market, but this is the one I chose, and it's completely adjustable to the size that you want to cut. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to pause this and I'm going to do a little bit of work on thick styrene, because the end of the video I want to show is how to cut really good discs or circles out of a thicker 1mm plasticard, because doing it in this is fairly simple. It's sort of one strike with the knife. So I'll just pause this and I'll be back in a moment. So we're back from our seamless jump there. In the future I'll probably do some fade screens, but there we go. So you can see there that I've sort of scored the two circles, but getting that to snap out, so everybody if you've seen my last videos, you know that the 1mm plasticard has to be, or styrene has to be, snapped in order for it to sort of cut. Getting a blade to go all the way through the thicker plasticards is quite tricky. So one thing that I've found that works fairly well is if you take your rule and a hobby knife, and you place the rule sort of towards the edge of your circle, and you cut a line, and then you do the same on the other edge. And basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to isolate the corners for each of the circles. As you can see there, I've cut a sort of box around it. So we can take that and we can snap the plasticard out, and already you can see there the corners come away, and we're left with a piece in here which actually will just snap out really easily. These can be quite handy for doing certain things as well, so it's worthwhile keeping hold of those. And then what should happen, and may not in this case, is now that you've isolated the corners, you can literally just snap them off like that. And then I'll take the other one and one more. So that's what would happen if you had a a single circle and you put just a box around that. What I've got is two circles here, and just to make it easier to snap those two apart from each other, I'm going to cut a line down the center between the two, like that, snap them apart. So now we've isolated. You can see here I went too far to the edge and I've cut a bit of my circle off. This one is going to be a much better example. So snapping away from the score, you can sort of do that, and then when you bring it back on itself, it'll snap away. Now, what you are left with, unfortunately, with the thicker plasticard is a bit of cleanup. But as you can see there, it's a damn good circle. It's just a matter of taking your blade and dropping it. Again, if you've got a blunt one like I have here, for this sort of thing where it's not sort of untidy, I usually keep a blunt blade around that I've not got any sort of big risk of cutting myself unless I draw my finger across it. But sort of that sort of motion won't affect it, so don't try this motion that I'm doing now with a sharp blade, I guess is what I'm getting at. So only with blunt ones that you've used for lots and lots of things. So by just giving it a quick sort of shave around the edges, all the bits that weren't quite caught, if you are off good, you end up with a circle with lumps and things. Anyway, so you end up with a fairly good circle, and it's nice and quick and fairly easy to do. So that works with both drawing around a shape like that or using the cutter here. It's actually a fairly good size for that. Right, that was all I wanted to show really. Again, if anybody's got any sort of other ways that they cut circles, I'll be very happy to find them out. I suppose you could probably use one of those big drills for cutting holes through plasterboard and things, where it's got like a drill in the centre and then a cup around it with serrated edges. I suppose that could be used as well, so drop me a line in the comments if you've got any other ways of cutting circles. These are the methods that I use. I find them nice, quick, easy and effective, so I just thought I'd put them out there. Again, if you're into this sort of thing and you want to learn more, or you want to share the stuff that you've learned over your time working with Styrene, head on over to Styrene Engineers. There's a link in the description. Group of guys there, ever increasing by the week, where basically we're talking about styrene and the different things you can do with it. So yeah, it's becoming a great place to sort of talk about things and learn. More importantly, learn on what can be done. I've learned a lot since starting the Facebook group. So yeah, thanks for watching. As always, stay well, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.